Where's George?
I'm afraid he's in a severe diabetic coma, ma'am. His blood sugar level was through the roof. We're doing all we can.
Please, Dr. Howard, help him.
Unfortunately, there's something else, ma'am. We'll need to amputate his leg. Today.
No!
It's hard to believe that was me, George Riley, only 2 years ago, almost to the day. See, for 10 long years, diabetes devastated my body and terrorized my family. It made me a slave to my medication and emptied my bank account. And it forced me into a deadly hyperosmolar non-ketotic coma for 2 days. A coma the doctors never thought I would wake up from. And when I did, they told me I was only weeks away from a scheduled leg amputation. But by the grace of God, my leg was saved from amputation by what happened next. And every day, I thank God for this miracle. Because even though it almost sent me to an early grave, what happened right after that completely transformed my entire life. You see, I'm only here telling you this right now because I survived to tell the tale. I reversed my type 2 diabetes, and you can too. And it was all thanks to my adorable 4-year-old grandson, Lucas. He saved my life. Back then, when I was lying in the hospital about to have my leg amputated, I knew nothing about this deadly disease, except to take my medication. Yet this brush with death was what forced me on the unlikely journey that reversed my type 2 diabetes and changed my life forever. Since that day, I've discovered the scientific proof that you can reverse your type 2 diabetes. In a moment, you'll see the evidence with your own eyes. You can be sure it's not what you think. Forget about what you've heard about diabetes when they told you it's caused by your genetics or your family history, your age, your weight, or even eating too much sugar or carbs. The truth, according to a breakthrough American study from the University of Utah, is that the cause of diabetes type 2 is a tiny lipid molecule that makes your fat cells go haywire. This molecule forces toxic fat cells to stream into your blood. The toxic fat then sticks to your pancreas, liver, and heart, suffocating your vital organs and stiffening your arteries. Stay with me for the next few minutes of this short video because I'm going to reveal how to target this root cause of diabetes type 2 with a powerful blend of ingredients. I'll also show you how the shady powers behind the scenes have set up a clever trap to hide this information and trick you into taking their meds for the rest of your life. And I'm going to share the exact method that reversed my diabetes and helped me lose 42 pounds of dangerous fat in a matter of weeks by activating a diabetes reversing mechanism that every one of us has. The solution is as simple as consuming a blend of nutrients that target and reverse the root cause of diabetes type 2. Anybody can use this nutritional method, no matter if you're 40, 50, 60, 70, or even 80 years of age, man or woman, no matter if you've had diabetes for 10 years or 10 days. I guarantee that you can safely use this breakthrough method yourself, and even if you only succeed in getting your blood sugar under control, it'll be worth it. I was skeptical about trying it myself, but with death staring me square in the face, I was ready to try anything. And thank God I did, because now I'm free of diabetes. Freeing myself from diabetes allowed me to rebuild my life. I now have the freedom to do whatever I want. I have the energy to play with my grandson, and most of all, I'll never have to take my debilitating medication again. This breakthrough method has now helped 37,839 diabetes type 2 sufferers free themselves from the disease. People like William, 64, from Massachusetts, who wrote to say, "Thank you so much for sharing your diabetes type 2 video. I am very glad that I stayed to watch it until the end, because with your exact method, I was able to free myself of my type 2 diabetes in only 5 weeks. I used to feel like a burden to my family, scared of dying a miserable death alone. But now I don't even need my meds, and I can eat whatever I want, including dessert." Or Jessica, 52, from North Carolina, who says, "Hi, George. Writing to you from vacation in Hawaii. The method you shared online helped me to stabilize my blood sugar and lower it to acceptable levels. And that's not all, because I also lost 36 pounds, and I'm the same size as I was at 29. I was skeptical about your solution at first, but I'm delighted I gave it a try. I'm totally free of the daily pains I had with my diabetes, such as horrible side effects from medication and eating tasteless meals. It transformed my life, saving me a fortune in medical expenses in the process, and all because I was lucky enough to find your method. You're about to see exactly how to reverse your diabetes type 2. Listen very closely. When you see how these people reverse their type 2 diabetes, you'll wish you'd found out about it years ago. You don't know about this discovery that reverses diabetes because doctors won't talk about it. It's not new medication. It's not a supplement. It's not a crash diet. It's nothing like that. The simplicity of this solution will surprise you and maybe enrage you. Pay close attention and watch this video until the end, because it will be taken down, and you can't find this information anywhere else. The $325 billion diabetes industry is furious about it and is pressuring me with legal threats to remove it. But the main reason to pay attention to everything I say is because what I'm about to reveal will transform your entire life. Before we get to how you can reverse your diabetes type 2 for good, I have to reveal some critical information about diabetes that will shock you. Most people think nothing bad will happen to them if they have diabetes. They think they'll be fine if they take their medication. Nobody thinks they're going to have a limb amputated, drop into a diabetic coma, or go blind. But that's what this disease does to people like us. Most doctors don't tell their patients how deadly diabetes type 2 can be. They don't want to worry the public. But did you know a type 2 diabetic has a 1 in 6 chance of falling into a diabetic coma? And did you know that 1 in 4 diabetics have a limb amputated? How about losing your eyesight? Diabetic retinopathy is an eye disease that degenerates the sight of 40.3% of diabetics in the USA. More and more of us each day fall victim to the lies of the powerful diabetes industry like I did. But even if losing your leg is horrific, it gets worse, because diabetes leads to blindness, heart disease, stroke, kidney failure, and even dementia. And diabetes increases women's chances of cancer by 27%, according to the medical journal Diabetologia. High blood sugar is like pouring gasoline on fire, as the cancer cells take over your body at a phenomenal rate. And it doesn't end there, because a study published in the medical journal World Journal of Diabetes found that diabetes increases the risk of Alzheimer's disease by 65%. Some doctors are now calling Alzheimer's disease diabetes type 3. If you've been having trouble with your memory lately, it could be because diabetes is infecting your brain as well as your body. And what I'm about to say will be more important than ever, because my discovery revealed much worse than what any doctor ever told me about diabetes. If you're a victim of this crippling disease, you have to know one thing. It's not your fault. I only found out the truth thanks to a chance encounter with an unlikely medical professor. If it wasn't for this meeting, I'd be 6 feet under instead of talking to you. Which is why I had to ask myself, why did my doctor never tell me that diabetes type 2 has been reversed in tens of thousands of people? It's true. Yet my own doctor, who I trusted, never once mentioned it to me. I felt furious at myself for having blindly followed his advice. Advice which led to a sudden diabetic coma, to the brink of brain damage and leg amputation. Thousands of men and women have reversed their diabetes type 2 and now live happy, healthy lives. And it's all thanks to the formula I'm about to share with you. Now, I can understand it if you're feeling skeptical at this point, because most people believe there's nothing you can do to reverse diabetes type 2. I used to believe that too. But if you stay with me for 4 minutes, I'll show you the scientific proof behind this method that erases type 2 diabetes in 9 out of 10 people. And you can decide yourself if it's worth it. And even if you succeed in only improving your blood sugar levels, I urge you to give it a try, because that alone can add a decade to your life. When you free yourself of diabetes type 2, you will transform your entire life. Just imagine. No more panic attacks about falling into a diabetic coma and waking up with brain damage. No more blowing thousands of hard-earned dollars a year on meds that cause bloating, kidney problems, and failure to perform in the bedroom. No more waking up from nightmares drenched in sweat about having your leg hacked off. Instead, I promise you, you'll be free to do what you want. Your energy levels will soar. The fat will melt away from your frame, and you'll improve every single one of your health markers. In a minute, I'll show you the warning sign you need to watch out for, which means you could drop into a diabetic coma at any time, like I did. Pay close attention, because this advice could save your life. I'll also show you one common vegetable that most people eat almost every day that's infected with a nasty toxin that's making your diabetes worse, not better. Before we get to how you can reverse your type 2 diabetes for good, I should introduce myself. My name's George Riley. I'm 61 years old and work for a large security company near La Crosse, Wisconsin. I'm a perimeter security team leader, and I have 6 guys on my team. I'm married with 2 grown-up sons, Mike and Julian, 1 grandson, Lucas, and another on the way. For 18 years, I was a patrol officer in the police force. Then one morning, as I was out on a bust, my leg was hit by a stray bullet, which damaged my kneecap. I took medical retirement and switched to working private security because I've always felt responsible for the safety of others. I'm married to my beautiful wife, Linda. We enjoy eating out at restaurants and sharing a delicious dessert after our meal, such as ice cream with chocolate cake or warm apple pie. I'm going to tell you how you can enjoy these foods too, without guilt or worry, and be free of diabetes type 2. Telling my story is deeply emotional for me, but it's too important to keep from you, and it could save your life. I was in my early 50s at this time, and our 2 children had grown up and moved out. We were enjoying a new freedom at that time of our life. I took my health for granted because I felt fine. Until one day in early March that year, I started noticing some unusual symptoms. I'd have uncontrollable cravings for sweet buns and desserts like profiteroles. I'd often be thirsty and feel tired. All this made it difficult to work. We thought it was fatigue from working shifts, but a visit to the doctors revealed something completely different. I was diagnosed diabetic. It caught me by surprise, like a slap in the face. I knew nothing about diabetes, but I trusted I was in good hands with my doctor. From that day on, he prescribed metformin, and I went for monthly checkups on my blood sugar. I thought the medication would help my diabetes to get better, but instead, it got worse over the next 5 years. My blood sugar levels became more erratic. The tingling in my legs got more bothersome. Cravings for sweet foods overwhelmed me. I'm embarrassed to admit I found it hard to be intimate with my wife, and I packed on over 40 pounds of fat around my belly and back. My blood pressure went up. Nerve pains bothered my leg. My doctor upgraded my medication to metformin glyburide, but this only gave me a whole new bunch of side effects, such as bloating, kidney pains, and muscle aches. You may be noticing these symptoms too, until one night at work I collapsed and woke up in the hospital. It was a busy night, and the stress levels were through the roof due to repeated red security alerts. We were short-staffed and under a lot of pressure. The last thing I remember is feeling very hot and confused. Next thing I knew, I was waking up in the hospital bed, lights blinding my eyes, feeling groggy. And that's when I heard the doctor discussing the schedule for my leg amputation. Right at that moment, my eldest son, Mike, came into the hospital room with his 4-year-old boy, my dear grandson, Lucas. We'll have to cut his leg off from the knee. The blood vessels are narrowing, Dr. Richardson was telling my wife. We can schedule surgery for tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. He continued, unaware that he had new visitors in the room. My grandson, standing behind him, overheard this and immediately burst into tears. "Don't you touch my grandpa. Don't cut off his leg," he cried out. "He's the best grandpa in the world." He cried and brought us to tears. And maybe Dr. Richardson had a heart after all, because he decided to delay the leg amputation. Maybe it was too much for him to see a young boy devastated. "We'll need to operate in 8 weeks or less," he told my wife after they left. "Otherwise, diabetes could take his life." As you're about to find out, my grandson's innocent, touching outburst changed our lives forever. The first 2 days after my discharge from hospital, I was like a zombie. I lay around feeling sorry for myself, hardly speaking, and contemplating life in a wheelchair. I kept thinking of my son Julian's wedding coming up in a few months. Would I still be alive to see him marry his beautiful fiancée from Japan? I felt physically sick imagining how the wedding photos would look with me in a wheelchair. Linda tried to pick me up, to give me hope. But even if she put on a brave face, I knew too well that she was deeply worried. After all, I was her husband. I loved and took care of her. We had big plans for our retirement. We were proud new grandparents. All these dreams would turn to dust because of diabetes. My wife would spend her time caring for me. We could kiss goodbye to spending our winters down in sunny Florida. As I lay there on the couch thinking about my future, I knew I had 3 choices. 1, I could accept this as my fate. I'd lose my leg and spend the rest of my life in misery, a burden to others, broke and unable to walk, travel, or live normally ever again. 2, I could get mad at the world and complain about how medicine had failed me. I could tell anyone who'd listen that the diabetes industry was a giant fraud and I was a victim. 3, or I could choose to fight back and beat this. The thought of my grandson in tears and seeing my wife as sad as I'd ever seen made me mad, and that wasn't right. So that day I made a vow that I wouldn't rest until I found a solution to my diabetes. And because I knew people would think I was crazy, I told nobody but my wife. I had several weeks off work, and my first priority was to find out everything about diabetes type 2. I got to it. I spent 6 hours a day and as many nights passed out in bed with my laptop for the next 2 weeks. I researched medical studies in journals, in libraries, and on the internet. What was disturbing from my research was that diabetes type 2 is on the increase all over the world, and fast. In the USA, over 30 million of us have diabetes. Another 84 million are pre-diabetic. That means over 30% of the population are either pre-diabetic or diabetic, predicted to be 50% in 10 years' time. Diabetes is now the biggest health epidemic in the country, with a diabetic dying every 6 seconds. It's also worth a pretty penny. Diabetes generates billions of dollars for the powerful pharma giants. Several big pharma companies have been caught red-handed bribing doctors to push their diabetes pills on people who don't need them. Big pharma butters them up and offers them lucrative deals to promote diabetes drugs at events. What a racket they'd set up. I imagined the greedy CEOs laughing as they cashed in their multi-million-dollar bonus checks. Something else I found out was that doctors are so busy with diabetics that they quickly prescribe a treatment and move you on. Instead, they should be telling you about the deadly risk diabetes type 2 poses to your life. For example, one study showed that if you've got diabetes, your risk of heart attack is up to 4 times higher than the average person. Another found that diabetics are twice as likely to have a stroke. And during a stroke, your clogged blood vessels slow blood flow to the brain. If you're a diabetic, a stroke is like sitting in the electric chair. I researched hard. I called universities to question them. I found medical journals dating 10 years back. I trawled through hundreds of diabetes studies on the internet. But the advice I kept seeing was no different to what my doctor always told me. Take your meds. Avoid too much sugar. It was this so-called advice that almost caused me brain damage from a diabetic coma and took me to the brink of leg amputation. I took myself to the point of exhaustion, searching late into the night on medical research websites and waking up early, day after day. My wife had to stop me because the stress was getting too much. I decided to take a break. My son Julian was due to visit with his fiancée from Japan, and I wanted to help him plan the wedding to make it the best ever. After all, it could be the last family event of my life. The next morning, as I had coffee with my son Julian and his fiancée Noriko over breakfast, I told them about my frustrations with my diabetes research. Maybe Noriko can help, Julian said. She majored in health science in Japan. In Japan, they target the root cause of health problems. Here in the US and other Western countries, we manage the symptoms with medication. And that's why in Japan they have far lower levels of diabetes type 2, heart disease, obesity, and cancer, and why they live much longer than us on average. Then Noriko told me about a maverick American medical professor who was based in Japan. His name was Professor James Freeman, and he was known in her country for his pioneering research in diabetes. Freeman was using research from the University of Utah to develop a powerful new nutritional method to reverse diabetes type 2 for his Japanese patients. She was surprised I didn't know about it. This diabetes reversing method involved no medication, no crash diets, and no exercise. It activates a powerful mechanism which targets the root cause of the disease. Diabetics of all ages were following it from home and reversing their diabetes type 2 in weeks. And what's more, she had his contact details. Now, you may think I'd have bitten her arm off to get in touch with this guy, but I was skeptical. After all, which doctor had ever helped me fix my blood sugar? I was done with doctors by this point. But I had nothing to lose, so I emailed Freeman's office and left my details. Then 4 days later, I got woken up with a call from his assistant in Japan. "I'll make this quick," she said. "Professor Freeman will be in Chicago next week. If you'd like to see him, he can spare some time for you." She made an appointment for Friday afternoon, and that day I drove the 4 hours to Chicago, not knowing what to expect. Freeman was a bright guy, very clear and down to earth. I quickly learned he'd lived and worked in a few different countries. He had a number of awards for his breakthrough diabetes research in Japan, Dubai, and Singapore. And his story was interesting. His parents had both developed type 2 diabetes when he was in medical school. He'd seen how diabetes had ruined their lives. The side effects of the medication, the weight gain, the loss of energy, not to mention the drain on their finances. It was painful for him to watch. He'd made it his life's mission to find a way to reverse diabetes type 2 for good, and without needing meds that damage your kidneys and cost the earth. "Let's be clear about one thing, George," he told me. "The true cause of diabetes type 2 is not eating too much carbs or sugar. It's something entirely different. In fact, Americans have decreased their consumption of both sugar and carbs over the last 10 to 15 years, yet diabetes type 2 rates are shooting up faster than ever before. People are trying desperately hard to fix their blood sugar, but they're doing it all wrong. Here's why. Scientists at the University of Utah recently discovered a tiny lipid molecule, a foreign compound called a ceramide, which all diabetics have very high levels of. They discovered that this toxic molecule is the real cause of diabetes type 2, not carbs and not sugar. These tiny compounds force fat cells to spill into the bloodstream and clog up your vital organs, especially the pancreas, the liver, and the heart. You probably already know that your pancreas is the organ that produces insulin, but when it's clogged up with toxic fat, it can't do its job and secrete insulin. And insulin is what tells your cells to absorb sugar and energy from the foods you eat. Without insulin, sugar stays in your bloodstream and your blood sugar creeps up and up, eventually leading to diabetes type 2. This fat streams around the body, sticking to the liver and heart, and even clogging the arteries as well, which explains why diabetics are at a high risk of heart attack and often have fatty livers. Now the problem is that some of us can't flush out foreign compounds like ceramides on our own. Sure, losing some weight can help, but it's not enough for most people. No matter how hard you try to fix your blood sugar, even if you exercise daily and eat next to no sugar and carbs, it's near impossible to reverse diabetes type 2 unless you fix this one thing. He continued, "It's like trying to unblock your clogged sink when someone is pouring cooking fat down it every night. You'll try your best, but the fat keeps pouring down the pipes every night, blocking it up again. It's the same as when you try to fix blood sugar. If the fat keeps streaming into your blood and clogging up your pancreas, it'll never work. It's not your fault. The good news is we now know how to flush out the root cause of the fat, which is this ceramide compound. When you do that, you'll stop fat from entering your bloodstream and clogging your pancreas. You only need to add a powerful blend of phytonutrients to your diet that target and destroy the cause of this fat, and melt it away. These phytonutrients are powerful plant compounds that help neutralize foreign agents in the blood, repair DNA damage from exposure to toxins, and fight against inflammation. You'll find them in certain fruits and vegetables. The most powerful of these plant compounds are called flavonoids, lignans, and prophenols. These may sound intimidating, but really, they're simple medicinal plant chemicals you'll find in foods at grocery stores. You'll find prophenols in foods like in chives, grapes, dark chocolate, and cinnamon. You'll get lignans from eating squash and carrots. And flavonoids you'll find in celery, parsley, and romaine lettuce. But the key is not to get these foods and just eat them in any order. You'll need to combine them in specific amounts and take them at certain times of the day for them to work. When you do that, you'll create a powerful catalytic effect and increase their potency. This is what kickstarts the powerful chain reaction to reversing your diabetes type 2. When you add these nutrients to your diet in these specific combinations, it'll be like you finally get rid of the guy who's pouring fat down your sink every night and blocking it up. You unclog your body, clean it out, and it starts working perfectly well again, especially your pancreas. This sounded good to me, but I was a little skeptical. How does it actually work? I asked him. Well, scientists at the University of East Anglia in England first discovered that phytonutrients are powerful antioxidants that first target and flush out the dangerous ceramide compound that causes the fat to clog your organs in the first place, he told me. Then they melt the nasty white fat deposits by attacking and dissolving the deadly fat cells that sit around your pancreas and belly. When you add other phytonutrients, such as prophenylphenols and lignans, it creates a potent catalytic effect that melts away every last cluster of toxic white fat clogging your pancreas, liver, and heart that's been causing diabetes, and without exercise. You'll burn away pounds of belly fat, lower blood pressure, and feel much more energetic. Then he showed me the results of his clinical trials, which were mind-blowing. For over 9 out of 10 diabetics, the toxic fat around their organs melted completely, firing up the pancreas and turning the liver into a fat-burning machine. It was as though they'd fixed their clogged, broken pancreas and liver with a pressure wash, leaving them clean, shiny, and in perfect working order. And with a fully functioning pancreas, they reversed their diabetes type 2 in a few weeks. The participants were men and women from all walks of life. There were 24-year-olds right up to 87-year-olds, newly diagnosed diabetics, people who'd suffered for 20 years with the disease, and a few cases of advanced prediabetes. His system was also melting away an average 22 pounds of excess body fat in the first 6 weeks. Most people reaching the 3-month mark had improved every single one of their health markers. They lowered their blood pressure to healthy levels, improved cardiovascular health, boosted energy levels, and even enhanced brain and memory function. How about the small number of people who didn't fully reverse their diabetes type 2? The treatment lowered their fasting blood sugar levels to around 125, meaning their diabetes was finally under control and low risk. This alone added at least 10 years to their lives. Why don't we know about this diabetes breakthrough in the US and Canada? I asked him. You can find the studies if you look, George, but it's not in the media because it's been suppressed by powerful pharma lobbies who are concerned they'd lose billions if this information is made public, he replied. Then he told me he'd worked for a major pharma company to develop this treatment a few years ago, but to his shock, the research was suddenly shut down without warning. See, the problem was that his phytonutrient combination was so powerful that it would be capable of reversing diabetes in tens of millions of people over the next 2 years. It would mean the pharma company funding the study would lose hundreds of millions of dollars they pocket from pushing their daily diabetes treatments worldwide. Of course, pharma companies don't want people to reverse diabetes type 2, as it's bad for business. That's when Freeman understood how it worked. If a treatment was too good, or if results were permanent, they're not interested, and they pull the plug on the research right away. They're only motivated by profit. Their drugs are designed to keep people dependent on them for life, managing the symptoms without ever fixing the disease. At the time, Freeman was frustrated because he had the results to prove he could reverse diabetes type 2. Both of his aging parents had reversed their long-term diabetes type 2 by following his simple protocol. He couldn't keep these results to himself, so he'd taken it to other countries like Japan and Singapore instead. And because he knew his system had to be super simple for people to follow, he developed an easy-to-follow 3-step approach that caused participants to become practically immune to diabetes type 2. Freeman's team made their system super simple and quick by giving people simple daily juice recipes with the exact quantities of vegetables, fruits, and herbs containing the phytonutrients they needed to ignite the diabetes-reversing mechanism inside them. By drinking these juices for breakfast or lunch, they started reversing their diabetes type 2 on the very first day. The potent phytonutrients in their juices protected them from dangerous ceramides and dissolved the dangerous white fat deposits, and keeps blood sugar constantly under control even when people have a cheat day. The results were beyond their wildest expectation. Not only did 9 out of 10 of the participants fully reverse their diabetes, but they kept it away for good, even 5 years on. I asked him if the participants had to lower their intake of carbs. No, replied Freeman. Most people increase their carb intake. The 3 healthiest communities in the world consume a diet with plenty of carbs and have no diabetes. Carbs aren't the real culprit. Certain types of modified oils, fake chemicals, and even one dangerous vegetable most people eat are what you need to avoid. Which vegetable is bad for diabetes? I asked him, shaken by this revelation. Kale, he replied. Then he hit me with results of a shocking new report. He said that in the 2019 USDA test on kale, more than 92% of kale samples had 2 or more pesticide residues detected. The most frequently detected pesticide is DCPA, and it's classified by the Environmental Protection Agency since 1995 as a possible human carcinogen, and prohibited for use in Europe since 2009. It causes inflammation and oxidative damage. I was stunned. I'd been eating kale almost every day for the past 8 months, believing it to be super healthy. And all this time, kale was destroying my body from the inside. And it made me determined to try a solution out. He printed out some sheets of paper and scribbled on them for a few minutes, then handed me a binder. In that binder was the exact diabetes reversing method that had been perfected for his patients. Try this for 3 weeks, he said. Then check your blood sugar levels. I reminded Professor Freeman that I couldn't exercise due to my damaged kneecap. There's not a single workout in my program, he replied. And in fact, I don't recommend that you exercise. I was a little confused, as I expected that I'd need to do daily exercise and follow a crash diet. I didn't know I could reverse diabetes with no more than a binder and some handwritten notes on it. But I trusted Professor Freeman, and I felt he was on my side. He wasn't trying to push expensive meds with nasty side effects on me like my own doctor had. So I decided to give it a try. I thanked him for his time and drove home. I started the program the very next day and was struck by how simple and easy to follow it was. I could find the ingredients at a couple of local grocery stores. The delicious diabetes-destroying shakes made me feel instantly more energetic and lighter. It seemed as though they were cleaning me out. That first night, I slept the whole way through and woke up feeling reinvigorated. I'd usually need 2 coffees to get going each morning, but this day I felt restored and more energetic. 1 week later, my fasting blood sugar was down from 287 to 196. Next week, it was down to 155. And 3 weeks after starting the program, I dipped right down to 123. I checked for a couple of days and my fasting blood sugar wavered above 135 a few times. Then I noticed Professor Freeman had added a handwritten note saying that I had to eat a little earlier in the evening than I was. I did what he said, and 3 days later my blood sugar levels were down to a healthy 118 and stayed there. The fat was falling off my frame. My energy levels were starting to soar. I'd reversed my diabetes type 2. I gave it 2 more weeks, then went back to see Dr. Richardson for my tests. He seemed to be preparing to schedule my amputation and getting ready to give me the bad news. But his expression turned to confusion, then outright astonishment as he looked at my results, then at me, then back to my results again. "These numbers are off the charts," he said. "Not once has anyone come in here after a few weeks with such a huge improvement. Congratulations, you now have the fitness levels of a healthy 40-year-old, and we can forget about the amputation surgery. We'll monitor you for now, but you won't be needing the medication anymore." I nodded my head in agreement without telling him I'd thrown my meds in the trash 2 weeks earlier. I walked out of there a free man, with the biggest grin ever on my face. Could you imagine your doctor tells you you're free of diabetes? How wonderful would you feel? Linda and I hugged each other and cried with happiness. Suddenly, my whole life had been transformed. I would never have to take meds or prick my finger. I would never be a burden to my family and friends or have nightmares about diabetic comas or limb amputations again. I could have a dream retirement with the energy to play with my wonderful grandchildren. I could go out to restaurants and not have to worry about how tired I would get or what food I could eat. I was finally free from diabetes type 2. The first thing I did after hearing the news was go see my grandson Lucas. He looked worried as I kneeled down to speak to him, as if he remembered when the doctor was discussing my leg amputation. "Grandpa's better now," I told him, smiling. "We can go play together as much as you want." Seeing the biggest, happiest smile break out on his face was the best moment of my entire life. He jumped up and hugged me, giggling with joy. "I love you, Grandpa," he said. I felt like $1 million at that moment. And, I'm embarrassed to admit, I burst into tears. The emotions were too much. The little guy was too young to understand that it was all thanks to him. 3 months later, I had a checkup and I was as healthy as I'd been since my 20s. I'd lost a total of 42 pounds. I was overflowing with energy. My health markers were all in the optimal range. I felt great. A few weeks later, I attended Julian and Noriko's wedding. I felt as proud as any father could feel that day. At the reception, as we ate wedding cake, I talked with my wife about our exciting plans. Now I'd reversed my diabetes. "Do you know what our wonderful grandson just said to me?" I said. "He told me I had to help all the other diabetics get better. What a golden heart that boy has." Linda's eyes welled up with tears. "You know, he's right," she finally replied. "We have to spread the word and help others." Linda's diabetic friend Donna was the first to give my treatment a try. She was reluctant at first because she used to be a nurse, and for her, the doctor's advice was the only way to go. But when I showed her my own blood sugar improvement over 3 weeks, then at 5 weeks, she decided she should try it out. At the 7-day mark, she'd lowered her blood sugar from 181 to 143. "It's most likely a temporary fix," she said. But after 3 weeks, she was down to 119. Not only that, but she'd shed 20 pounds in those 4 weeks, lowered her blood pressure, and even got her LDL cholesterol down. She was able to throw her meds and testing kits away for good. Then I got my old mentor and cop partner Roy to give it a go. He was 71 and retired, and like a lot of guys his age, he'd developed diabetes type 2. And Roy wasn't overweight or anything. He was in shape for his age. Like I said, skinny people can have diabetes too. He tried the program out for 2 weeks before texting me his results. "Hey, George, blood sugar's down to 120 already. And I don't know what it is, but I have this new surge of energy since I started." The results were so impressive that we decided to find people through Facebook who suffered from type 2 diabetes. We set up this website to share our secret so others can get these same results and throw away their medication. We found groups where there were thousands of people who were tired of being stuck on diabetes meds that did nothing for them. We shared our discovery with anyone who was interested. To tell you the truth, I didn't expect it to work as well as it did, but I was blown away by the results. A few weeks later, I started getting several dozen thank you messages on Facebook a day. Before we knew it, our solution had been shared thousands of times. Everyone who thanked us had completed these 3 steps and reversed their type 2 diabetes. Others who had only half followed the program had got their blood sugar levels under control and were very happy. Once we saw how much this helped people, we knew we had to go bigger and put together a full program with feedback from our earlier testers and help as many people as we could. We simply couldn't leave people in the dark, suffering with diabetes type 2. So I contacted Professor Freeman, and together we worked hard to make the nutrition program super clear and easy to follow. And because we know that most diabetics miss eating tasty foods, I got my son Mike to add some delicious flavor to the recipes. He's head chef in a hotel restaurant. And we added the whole gamut of info below, which will benefit every type of diabetic in every way possible. Step 1 is the 2-month nutrition plan that reverses type 2 diabetes in less than 8 weeks. Step 2 is the 7 brown fat boosting metabolic rules for diabetics to make sure your type 2 diabetes stays gone. And step 3 is the meal timing tricks to keep your blood sugar and weight under control. With hard work, we combined all this life-saving research into one simple nutrition guide, and we made sure it was super easy to follow. I remember how overwhelmed I felt by all the different advice out there, so we made sure all the hard work was already done. We made sure it didn't involve much effort or doing exercise that ruins your joints or spending a fortune on pointless health foods. We presented in super simple videos and manuals so anybody can follow it. We called it Diabetes Freedom and started sharing it over the internet. Today, people all over the world are using Diabetes Freedom to break free from diabetes type 2. This simple system is saving lives and transforming the happiness of entire families. I can't take the credit for the results you'll get, because it would never have been possible without the help of Professor Freeman and my family who supported me. And if you're here now, then I believe you're ready to give it a try too. I want you to get the same life-changing results that I did. I want you to be part of this new wave of people who are reversing their diabetes type 2 and adding decades to their lives. I want you to be free of type 2 diabetes. So first, let me show you what's inside. We divided the system into the 3 clear steps that will restart your pancreas function, fix your blood sugar levels, melt fat from your body, and help you either hugely reduce or eliminate any need for medication. Let me take a second to show you what's inside each step. Step 1, the Pancreas Restart Nutrition Plan. First up, you get the temporary nutrition plan that targets and destroys the white fat cells that are clogging up your insides. When your pancreas starts to fire again in a couple of weeks, you'll be regulating your blood sugar on your own again, meaning diabetes type 2 goes into remission. You'll get the exact nutrients that increase your brown fat levels and burn the white fat as energy. You'll feel a surge of natural energy light you up as this happens. Your body will feel lighter and your brain clearer. If you can avoid sodas and bread for a few days, this part is easy. You'll also get the 5-part video program to beat diabetes, which includes the delicious breakfast shakes, which target and melt the white fat cells, the exact meals to eat and when to incinerate fat around the pancreas and liver, the carbs you can safely eat at all times, which means you never go hungry and tired, methods to beat cravings and stay on track easily, meaning the path to reversing diabetes will be a breeze. How to detox the liver and flush out toxins for increased energy, better digestion, clearer skin, and enhanced memory. You'll get the 5 detox teas that melt fat cells, beat cravings, and lower blood sugar in a few minutes. You'll get the 7 key fat loss shortcuts that nobody tells you about because they're much too powerful. Hint, it's not keto. You'll get tastiest desserts that you can enjoy without having to worry about your blood sugar. And you'll get the secret spice that is proven to lower blood sugar by 30%. Take this before any meal on a cheat day. Once you reverse diabetes type 2, you need to make sure it stays away. That's why next up is Step 2, the Brown Fat Boosting Blueprint. When you increase brown fat, you melt away deadly white fat and reverse diabetes. Brown fat generates energy by burning sugar and fat instead of storing it. So in this second step, you'll get several proven 2-minute routines to keep your fat-burning mechanisms burning white fat all day. You can easily do these short routines from home. Plus, you'll find out the 3 blood sugar lowering drinks that you can have to keep your levels healthy if you've indulged yourself on vacation or at the restaurant. Not only do these proven brown fat boosting methods fix blood sugar and keep diabetes at bay, they work in the background, cleaning your arteries out, lowering blood pressure levels, melting excess fat away, and boosting energy. Now you've increased brown fat levels. You've got to have an added edge that enables you to eat what you'd like, but keeping your blood sugar levels low for good, especially after cheat days. So your final step is Step 3, meal timing strategies that eradicate diabetes type 2. Timing your foods is a shortcut to lower blood sugar, which means that by this time tomorrow, you'll have already lowered your levels by a good 20 points if you follow what we recommend. The easy-to-follow video guide shows you what time you can eat certain foods, such as carbs and desserts, to beat diabetes. You'll get the schedule of when to eat which foods to keep your blood sugar as stable as you've ever had it. The 60-second breakfast trick helps you stay full and beat cravings and increases your energy at the same time. And you'll get the tasty snacks you can safely eat when you feel hungry between meals. These timing strategies result in deeper sleep, enhanced energy levels, and they melt fat from your belly, back, buns, and thighs. Ever wonder at which time you should eat carbs? How about desserts? It's all in this guide. And you'll find some other surprise free bonus programs waiting for you in the members area. After a few weeks of following the Diabetes Freedom Program, you can say goodbye to pain, frustration, and fear, and start enjoying life again like never before. I'd love to give this diabetes-destroying solution away free, like I did to the first few hundred we helped. But as this website has gone viral and has been shared many thousands of times, I can't cover the running costs anymore. I need to keep this solution online so that millions of diabetes sufferers across the world can get the help they need and add decades to their lives as they become free of diabetes type 2. As long as this website stays live, it will help more and more diabetes sufferers like you. What would you pay for a clinically proven system that would radically transform your life? To restore the freedom of your younger years, to lose all that unwanted body fat, to save several $1,000s a year on medication. Many diabetics would pay $2,000 or $3,000 to access a solution they knew would reverse their deadly condition permanently and add decades to their lives. And it would easily be worth it. Imagine the new freedom you'll have once you're free of diabetes type 2. Reversing diabetes will transform your whole future, your health, and your finances. Professor Freeman recommended that we sell this breakthrough diabetes type 2 reversing solution for $997. But I'm like you, a regular family man. My aim here is not to make money, only to cover my running costs. I'm proud that I had another life purpose. That's good enough for me. I want you to feel like you're getting way more value than the small investment you make. I'm going to do everything I can and give you the best deal you can imagine, which is why I won't price this at even a quarter of that amount. You've got me on a good day. If you start now, you can start destroying your type 2 diabetes right now for only $37. Take a second and imagine what it'll be like when your doctor tells you you're free and you don't need diabetes medication anymore. Can you imagine how good that'll feel? The increase in energy you'll get, the delicious meals you'll eat out at restaurants, the feeling of freedom to do what you want. Here's a risk-free way for you to try diabetes freedom for 365 days. Access the system right now and start using it. If for some reason it doesn't work for you, even though it's worked for virtually every single person who follows the instructions and completes the program so far, or if you just decide it's not for you, then I'm offering you a money-back guarantee that lasts a whole year. The order process is fully secure and guaranteed. If this solution isn't for you, or if you change your mind, I want you to be refunded in full. If for any reason you're not satisfied with diabetes freedom, you have 365 days to request a refund of 100% of what you paid. That means that you'll have melted the fat from your pancreas and liver and reversed your type 2 diabetes, or you pay nothing. If you're ready to make the smartest decision of your life, click below right now and get started on a journey to a new life. Some people aren't ready to reverse their type 2 diabetes and experience life-changing benefits, and that's fine. If that's the way you feel, then feel free to leave this website right now. This solution isn't for you. If you are ready to transform your entire life, then you know it's time to be free of type 2 diabetes. Click below to add the Diabetes Freedom to your cart right now. You'll see our secure checkout page, where you're going to fill out your information to claim your copy of the system. Once you complete your order, you'll be taken to the members area to get started right away. Diabetes Freedom is a digital product that you can download or watch and read online from the members area. You can access it on your computer, smartphone, tablet, and you can even download and print out the nutrition guide. What's great is that you'll save on shipping costs, and Diabetes Freedom will be instantly accessible following your order. You can get started as soon as tonight. Once you check out, you'll see the instant access page. That's where you can access Diabetes Freedom, and you can read it on your computer, tablet, or smartphone, or print it out and read it anywhere. That's also where you'll find the video guides included in this system. To do the right thing for you and your family, hit that button below and fill in your details on the next screen. Let me show you what people I've already helped have had to say about diabetes freedom. Patty from Kansas City said, "It has transformed my life. I had type 2 diabetes for 2 to 3 years before trying this. I was on 2 medications which were constantly being increased, and the side effects were awful. When I saw the method you were sharing, I had absolutely no hesitation to try it out. When the doctors told me that my pancreas was working again, it felt wonderful. Absolutely fantastic. I'm not diabetic anymore. Sure, I get checked out every 2 months, but I don't have diabetes. I am so glad I was given the opportunity to try it out. Alan from Richmond, Virginia said, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes in May 2011 during a routine checkup by my doctor. My family and I couldn't believe because I thought I had no physical symptoms. While I didn't feel fat, I was fat on the inside. I've since seen a scan of my pancreas and liver, and you can see the fat around there. I followed the breakthrough nutritional plan for 8 weeks. Even if I didn't believe it would work, the payoff for me, the reversal of my diabetes, was more than worth the effort. In the 8 weeks, I lost 35 pounds and my pancreas started working normally again. With my diabetes gone, I haven't looked back. I eat normal foods, though I eat less than I used to, and I eat at restaurants and eat chocolate, but not every day. I have maintained my weight lower, and it feels great. It has been a total life transformation. In fact, I'm so much happier thanks to this. Now that you've seen how it worked for them, I want you to see how it works for you. Click below and get started on a journey to a new life. I'm going to make this real easy for you. If you order in the next 30 minutes, I'm including 3 free bonuses that you'll love. Bonus 1 is the Fat Burning Blueprint. If you've ever wanted to destroy fat cells in the fastest way, or if you've ever wondered how movie stars destroy belly fat in record time, then you're about to find out. This bonus is the result of several high-level personal trainers condensed into one easy-to-follow blueprint. The little-known strategies in the Fat Burning Blueprint help you melt fat in record time, tighten up your skin, boost energy, and leave you feeling great. Bonus 2 is the Stay Young Forever program. Did you know certain foods and habits are aging you prematurely? And did you ever wonder how some people stay effortlessly young without surgery or Botox? Here, we reveal the secrets to an eternally ageless body. You'll be the envy of your social circles a few weeks after you follow the strategies in this guide. Bonus 3 is 33 power foods for diabetics. In this free bonus, we researched and found every food under the sun that can help you when you start your diabetes reversing journey. You'll never be stuck for snacks, recipes, or if you're hungry with this incredibly well-researched list. If you order now, you'll get these bonuses, valued at $147, completely free. Click below to get started. Now you might be wondering, how soon can you expect to see results? Well, in Professor Freeman's first study, they tested people at 2 weeks, and then at 4, then 8 weeks. By 2 weeks, 85% of participants had significantly lower blood sugar levels than before they began. At 4 weeks, 73% of participants had normal blood sugar readings. By 8 weeks, 84% of the participants had reversed their type 2 diabetes. There were even several people who reversed diabetes in 11 and 12 days. If you start using Diabetes Freedom today, you could be diabetes-free in less than 2 weeks, or at least your healthy blood sugar levels will astonish your doctor. You'll start off using the delicious nutrition plan. Plenty of people say they feel lighter, more energetic, and even slimmer, only 24 hours after starting. That first night, you'll sleep better and wake up feeling restored and invigorated. In 1 week from now, you can test your blood sugar levels and already see a noticeable improvement. As you reach your second week, the fat should start to melt away from your frame. Your energy levels will light up and your brain fog will lift. After 3 weeks, many people have got their blood sugar down to healthy levels. This is when aches and pains start to subside. The powerful ratio of nutrients in the plan will be melting the toxic fat around your belly, pancreas, and liver. Your blood glucose will stabilize at a healthy, normal level. You'll be able to talk to your doctor and see his or her stunned expression when they see how much healthier your blood sugar levels look. If you start today, then less than 1 month from today, you could be free to enjoy life, free from worries about heart attacks, strokes, Alzheimer's disease, and blindness. If that sounds as amazing to you as it has to thousands of other people, then click below to access your copy of Diabetes Freedom in 3 minutes' time and start your journey to freedom today. Once you melt the toxic internal fat to restart your pancreas and fix the root cause of your disease, it's goodbye to diabetes. That's when you check with your doctor if you're ready to stop taking debilitating meds for good. You're at a crossroads right now. One path leads to a happy, long, and energetic life where you're entirely free of diabetes type 2. No meds, no worries about heart attack or stroke, no loss of eyesight. The other path is fraught with danger, attacks from each side, nasty traps that could blow your leg off, and medication costs draining your retirement fund. Which one sounds better to you? It's no joke that you could lose your leg. It happens to 1 in 4 diabetics. And how about a diabetic coma? If you feel hot, urinate frequently, have strange smelling breath, or extreme thirst, you could be about to fall into a diabetic coma like I did. What will happen if you don't make any changes? You'll try increasing your meds with no results except dangerous side effects like nausea, weight gain, sexual dysfunction, and heart disease. How about the huge risk to your life? The increase in chances of cancer, heart attack, Alzheimer's, disease, and stroke. Sure, you can keep on taking medication, but medicine doesn't treat diabetes, nor does it lower the risk of heart attacks or stroke. It only helps you manage blood sugar, which is a symptom of diabetes. 7 different multinational randomized controlled trials of diabetes type 2 medications proved that it fails to reduce heart disease, the major killer of diabetic patients. And how about the slow rot that diabetes causes to your body? What about severe fatigue? Until your final days, you'll be a burden on your family and friends. Think of how they'll suffer to see you in pain, your finances draining you, only for you to die miserably. Does that sound fair to you? Me neither. Look, I know I'm being hard on you, but if you sit there and do nothing about diabetes, this is what happens. I don't want you to feel bad. I don't want this to happen. There's a way out of this. The doorway to a life where you're free of diabetes is right in front of you. I've opened it for you. You only need to walk through it. You can say goodbye to diabetes type 2 forever, like I did. You can become one of those people who succeed. You can start enjoying life again. You can enjoy your favorite foods and desserts again without worry. Think about the tens of thousands of dollars you'll save when you stop your meds. What will you spend it on? College for your kids? The best vacation of your life? Or even a beautiful new house? You can live a long, happy life with the energy you need to do what you enjoy most. You can take vacations, eat at restaurants, play with your children or grandchildren. You can be free. All it takes is the nutritional system in this program, which I'm sending you in your risk-free copy of the Diabetes Freedom. All the hard work has been done and condensed into this easy-to-follow program. All that's left is to click the button and start using it. Almost every single person who follows this program succeeds in reversing their type 2 diabetes. And at the very least, if you improve your blood sugar levels, you can add a decade to your life. Click the button below to start your new future today. In case you have any questions, I've collected a few of the most common ones here to answer. Does diabetes freedom really work? Yes, 9 out of 10 who follow the program have been able to reverse their diabetes. The other 10% got their blood sugar levels down to around 130 in a few weeks. Melting fat around your pancreas means it can start producing enough insulin again, and your body can absorb and use that insulin. Even people who only followed the program half of the time succeeded in getting their blood sugar levels under control. Of course, you have to use the system for it to work. You've seen proof that it works. The studies, the success rate. How does diabetes freedom get sent to me? The entire Diabetes Freedom will be available as a digital product that you can download or watch and read online from the members area. You can access it on your computer, smartphone, tablet, and you can even download and print out the nutrition guide. What's great is that you'll save on shipping costs, and Diabetes Freedom will be instantly accessible following your order. You can get started as soon as tonight. How soon can I stop taking my medication? Remember, I recommend you use the Diabetes Freedom to naturally reverse your diabetes, and then decide with your doctor when to go off your medication. Professor Freeman's studies showed that within 8 weeks, over 90% of participants had lowered their blood sugar down to healthy or near normal levels. Around half reversed diabetes at 4 to 6 weeks. The fastest recorded was 12 days. Depending on factors like your body type, the amount of time you've had diabetes, and how committed you are to the program, most people will reverse diabetes type 2 in 4 to 8 weeks. Is it scientifically proven? Absolutely. Diabetes Freedom is based on research at University of Utah, Texas University, Newcastle University in England, Harvard Medical School, and 14 other studies from reputable institutions. There have been studies all over the world showing that these methods can reverse your type 2 diabetes. Why hasn't my doctor told me about this? Your doctor is most likely a good person. He or she just doesn't know about this yet. In the past, we've seen it take 5 to 10 years before doctors start recommending treatments that are effective. Have you got 5 years to wait? 5 years of pain and suffering? 5 years of being a burden and not knowing how long you've got left? Other doctors have proven this method works. You've seen the proof. You can try this nutritional solution starting today with no risk. How difficult is this program? The first step is where you have to follow closely. But like I said, if you can say no to white bread and soda for a few days, you can easily follow this nutrition plan. If other people all over the world have successfully used these methods, you can too. Remember, once you finish the first step, the next steps are much easier. If for some reason it doesn't work for you, or even if you change your mind, just let me know, and I'll refund your money 100%. Your new life starts now. It's time to be free from your disease. Now that I've shown you the proof that Diabetes Freedom works, it's up to you to try it for yourself. Click the button below and free yourself from type 2 diabetes right now.